Hey everybody, big up, big up, big up. Welcome back to my channel. Hey, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like up the video, and turn on the notification bell. All right, I really appreciate you all. In this video, I'm going to talk about questions that I think you should ask your father. You know, it's almost Father's Day, and I think it's insightful to get together with your dad or your father figure, someone you look up to and who has been taking care of you or who you admire, and have a sit down and have a conversation. And part of having a conversation is asking insightful questions just to get to know that person and get into the minds of your father or your dad and try to get a different perspective. You know, I was so grateful to have that conversation with my father, and he wasn't so open to answer questions, but I had to ask him, God rest his soul. And I'm so happy that I did that because I get to know who the man truly is, right? And get to understand his opinions on certain topics in life. And by listening to his answers, I kind of look at myself as well and be like, okay, well, maybe this is where I get it from, So it's really important to sit down and ask your dad some questions. And the first question I think you should ask your father: what do you think is the most important thing in life? I think that's a valid question. What do you think? What do you think is the most important thing in life? By asking this question, I think you want to understand what exactly your father values. What are some of the values that he really owns to his truth to? Does he value honesty? Does he value integrity? All right. Does he value family? Does he value positivity? Does he value health? I think it will give you a better understanding how his mind works and how he sees things. And it will also build that strong relationship with him. You know, you could learn a lot from your father. And sometimes children are raised in a way where they're not communicating with their parents. They're not having a transparent communication, or the parents are reluctant to share some of their ideas or share their childhood stories or how they were brought up, perhaps. And there are probably various reasons as to why. It could be, maybe their childhood wasn't the best childhood. And even if that's the case, I think for me anyway, I still want to know the true father, the true mother. How was your childhood? You know, and when you ask the question, what's important for you in life, whatever answer is given, it will give you also this strong sense of pride. Okay, this strong sense of pride. So when you're asking this question, never become so defensive in your approach when asking these questions, because remember, this is your opportunity to get to thoroughly understand how your father thinks and get to know him. And you may learn a lot. You may learn a lot about his worldview on life. And you have to respect that. Those are his his answers. So maybe his answers to the question may not be what you were hoping to hear, but that's okay. This is the time to have a deeper connection. And while having that deeper connection, you in return may recognize your own values. So definitely think about that. You may very well share a lot in common, more than you think. All right. For me, when I had the opportunity to ask my father this particular question, his immediate response was family. The most important thing for my father in life was family. My dad prided himself on taking care of his children and just making sure we were educated in the best way. One of the proudest moments for me was when my father was present when I graduated college, and he was beaming with pride. He smiled every moment. I mean, the entire day, actually, my dad had a smile on his face. All right. So My father never completed college, so making sure his children accomplished this particular goal meant more than anything. All right. So definitely, this, I think, out of all the questions, might be the most important question to ask. Maybe, who knows? But I definitely want to encourage you to ask that question and embrace the
Also,
answer.
keep in mind that life is short and time waits for no man. So, on this Father's Day, take your dad out, have a conversation, share some stories, and just spend some time with him. And you would be very, very, very grateful. I'm sure you will. The next question I think you must ask your dad is, who did you look up to when you were younger and why? This is a very important question because we all came into this world alone. That's a fact, unless you were born a twin or a triplet. But we are not in this world by ourselves, right? Along our journey, there will come a time where we meet someone and we find ourselves being impacted by the way this person treats us, the way this person is. This person is a positive person, and we respect them highly. We look up to them. We desire what they have. And there's just something about them that you really appreciate. Even if you encounter someone on your daily travels, and you have a conversation with that person and it changed something in you, something within you, you became inspired and it just made you want to become a better person, right? I think there's someone in our lives when we look back to think about, wow, this person I met years ago, and it's because of this person, I wanted to be an engineer. I wanted to be show up as a better mother, show up as a better father, a better friend. So when asking this question, I'm sure your father would do his best to think about who was that person that he always looked up to. So, for example, my father, when I asked him this particular question, he told me that when he left Jamaica and he went to England, he met a man by the name of Leonard who taught him how to make bicycles. And he taught him welding, and he also taught him how to play classical music. And he introduced them to a lot of classical songs and music and even instruments. And he always admired him because Leonard was a person that everyone respected in the community. And as my father began to travel through this life on his journey with his experience, he would often pick up classical LPs, the records. He would listen to Mozart and Beethoven. And every time for the rest of his life, whenever he would play these classical songs, he will always bring up the story of how he and Leonard would sit at his house playing the piano or having conversations about the music. My dad was a big lover of music. So he admired Leonard. He really looked up to him. Now, I asked him that question, and he said, yeah, Leonard was that guy, who I really treasured. And I think that's important. So that's a good question. Another question to ask is, what is your favorite memory of being a dad? That's a good one. That's a really good question. This question allows you to really understand how your father was, how your father saw himself as a father in you. And sometimes we don't necessarily look at our dad as how is he fathering us? We don't think about that when we're young. We just know that's our dad, he's there, and that's that. But by asking this question, it allows your father to really think about some of maybe the challenges he had to go through in order to prepare himself as a father. Every father experience different experiences in life as a father. Some had major challenges, and some probably didn't have much of a challenge. That's why I believe asking this particular question, I feel hopefully would be easier for your father to answer. He'll get very excited about answering this one. Perhaps he may think about a time where he taught you how to fly a kite, taught you how to tie your shoelaces, or you were in a predicament that you couldn't get out of and only he knew how to help you. Or maybe when he held you in his arms for the very first time as a baby. Those are precious memories. In my book, The Happy Black Daughter, I talked a lot about some of the experiences I had with my father. And a lot of those beautiful memories are in that book. I cherish those memories, and I know he cherished those memories too. And I believe if you take your dad out for Sunday, I know that once you ask those questions, I know that once your father share his answer with you, it will it will demonstrate that he values you. All right, he value you as his child, and I hope you do take up the opportunity to ask this particular question. Let me know if you did. All right, in the comments below, definitely. And don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. All right, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're liking this video. Another question is, before becoming a father, what about fatherhood you were most excited about? So now this question will shine a light on your father's mindset pre-fatherhood, okay? Because it could be before fatherhood or before becoming a father, he was not thinking about fatherhood. He may have had other matters to deal with, such as sustaining himself, making sure he was good financially. On the other hand, it could be that he was not ready for fatherhood. He had no choice but to step up to the plate and become the best father that he could. Even if both are true, what I found out after interviewing fathers for my book was that all the fathers wanted was to create a legacy. That's the big, 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 big word, a legacy. That excited them more than anything else. What also excited them was being able to care for their children, cooking for them, taking them to various functions, seeing them grow, taking them on their first daddy-daughter date or daddy and son baseball game, their first baseball game. That excited them. For my father, he once told me actually that he couldn't wait to make porridge for me. He was a great cook, and he couldn't wait to make porridge for me or make good soup, right? So cooking was his way of showing love. And legacy of above anything else, most men pre-fatherhood, they think about that. They think about having a child one day, having a son to carry their name. That's important. That's a huge thing. My father also, when he had his first son, he was very excited because now he has a son that carried the Braham name, and that was important for him. The next question and last question is there something you've always wanted to do but have yet to experience? That is a fun question to ask your father. Because sometimes along the way of fatherhood, fathers don't think about, they're thinking about taking care of the kids. They're thinking about finance. They're thinking about getting their you know what together. And they're not thinking about other things that they might have missed along the way, to maybe do something for them. You know, what was it that they wanted to become? Or what is it that they never experienced before in life? And perhaps maybe you can help them experience it now. You know, that's something to also think about. Because life comes at you really quick, and who wants to leave this world with regrets? Unfortunately, a lot of people, they do. They leave the world feeling with leaving behind a lot of regrets. And I think it's really going to be special when you ask your father this particular question, because he will have to really think about, there has to be something that he has never experienced in his life and he wants to experience it. And hopefully you can help him, okay? I'm going to make this last question a little fun, and I'm going to share with you some things that you and your father can do for Father's Day. Maybe what's on the list is something that he always wanted to do. You never know. Maybe not. But the first thing is skydiving. That's kind of fun. Maybe he wants to camp. All right. He's never been done camping before. He's never gone to a wine tasting event. If your father drinks. He has never attended a concert. He's never had breakfast in bed. All right. He never visited a museum. Maybe take him to a museum. He has never been to a golf course. He's never been golfing. Maybe you could take him golfing. Maybe he's never been to the movies. Who knows? Anyway, I want to wish you, your father, a happy Father's Day. If you're a father out there in the world, thank you so much for showing up. Thank you for being the best dad that you can possibly be in this world. Continue to do the work in the best way. I appreciate you. Your children will appreciate you. The entire world will definitely appreciate you. We know you're doing your best. It's not easy, but with hard work, all will be well. Don't forget, guys, to like, share, subscribe. I hope you enjoy this video. Bye.